We are back. Who did your trailer, Amy?
A company called Creative Digital Studios. One of their designers there, Ellie Augsburger, is phenomenal. She does my covers, she does my trailers, my teasers. She rocks.
Awesome.
And her husband is my editor, and he is also the voice on the trailer. So
okay. So I don't know where. Let me go and find out what's happening there. Be quiet. Okay. There we go. See, I know what I'm doing. Let's get rid of that. Let's go back here. Okay, we're back. Okay, so we have a prize draw going to happen. All the details will be shown later, so before the video ends. Amy is giving a signed copy of her book, Ice. Do you have it with you? You can show to... Beautiful. Actually, it doesn't look backwards here. I'm seeing it normal. Oh, cool. No, I know, that's strange, isn't it?
Yeah, what I see is backwards.
So, a signed copy of her book, Ice. I have some awesome t-shirt transfers that would look really cool on black and white. I have a Jax Taylor sticker. Just the exactly same one actually that came on, was it part 1? Yeah, here we go. Season 1. It's exactly the same picture. Also, I have this really awesome gun. I think it's a Beretta. It's a key ring. There we go. So these prizes are all going to one person, and I shall tell you what you need to do to be in for a chance of winning this awesome prize draw. Right, let's get back to. Why don't you tell the people what Ice is about? Who is Ice?
Ice is the president of the Knights of Silence Motorcycle Club. He started out a rich kid, living in a very nice neighborhood with, parents that took him to the country club and the best of everything. He had his life mapped out for him by his father. And when he was in his early 20s, they were both killed in a car crash. Mm-hmm. And he had a 10-year-old sister and lost everything. His father had blown away all their money and realized after they had died he had nothing. He grew up next door to Emma, who is the love of his life. And because he gravitated toward the club at that point in his life when his parents passed away, she kind of walked out of his life. And now 11 years later, she's back and she needs his help. And he is now president of the club. And so he helps her. They find their way back together. There's a lot of twists and turns in the story. And I will warn you, it does end in a cliffhanger. But the good news is book 2 is probably coming out next month.
Excellent. So you can read book 1 and then you can go straight away and pre-order book 2. Awesome. Yeah. I have, but the people don't. I've actually put together a competition called Biker Wars, which we have the best MC authors battling it out in a series of 10 different criterias to be the winner and have the title of baddest MC novel out there. What really, I don't understand why everyone that I know who writes MC has it down as MC romance. Because every one of my books has romance in it, and it's always either she's with this guy and that didn't work out, she goes to another, or she's with him right from the beginning, really bad turbulence, what have you, and then they happily ever after in the sunset at the end. But it's all romance. But I have never promoted my book as a romance. For me, it's MC thrillers, because the thrills that go on in my books, which I'm certain from what I've read of everybody else's for the contest, they have exactly the same. So one-on-one, as in one author to another, why have you classed Ice as a romance and not an MC thriller?
You know, I never thought about that. Because I had written historical romance, it just kind of, and all the other books that I have read about motorcycle clubs are all under, like, if I go to Amazon and I search MC romance, hundreds of them come up. So
exactly.
I think that's why I classified it that way, because I never thought of it differently. Yeah,
if they're all MC romance, but 100% they have the same themes. You do. You have to have the same themes. Murder, drugs, guns, extortion, blackmail, and surely that's classed as a thriller. Sons of Anarchy wasn't a romance. Sons of Anarchy was a thriller. But there was romance all the way through. It was all about him and Tara. Opie and his wife, you know. So it's just really, I just needed to know why you and everybody else have their books down as a MC romance when I don't. Maybe I'm the one doing it wrong.
I never thought of it before, so that's a good point.
So Ice is an MC romantic thriller.
There you go. That's it.
Got it. Okay, I'm going to tell you a little about one of my books, Lawless Justice, which is the third book of the Outlaw series. There you go, beautiful. That's me on the back there. That's Raven.
What kind of bike do you have?
It was a Virago 250. I don't have it anymore because I can't ride anymore. So I have a little scooter. But even my scooter has a Sons of Anarchy tattoo on it. Really? Seriously, I need to find that picture and show you. Yeah. So, yeah, I can't ride anymore, so that's a shame. But so anyway, so book 3 of the Outlaw series. I wrote this after watching, I hope you know what I'm talking about now, Death Proof. Quentin Valentino.
Sorry.
No. The Death Proof? Yeah, Death Proof. About the car. Well, it was, who is that guy? Kurt Russell. And he was a stunt car person. He did all the smashes and everything in the films. And he goes to this bar, and there's a group of really sexy women. And they basically take the mickey out of him, flirt around, do a lap dance for him and what have you. And he gives one of them a lift home and he kills her. All of his car is proofed up for crashes and for the filming and what have you. So him with his seatbelt on and her not, and there wasn't a proper seat either where she was sitting, so she was basically mangled up. And then he sort of goes after the girls, but these girls, he picked the wrong women, I tell you. And the whole story is about, it was him against the girls, but then it went, no way, mate, you know, it's the girls against him. And they were badass bitches, they really were. And as soon as I saw that, then I thought, right, I've done 2 novels already about male-orientated motorcycle clubs, and it's not all about the men. So I said, right, these ladies are going to kick ass. They are called the Kittens. They're not just a motorcycle club. They're actually professional working women. We have Raven, who is a lawyer. Eve is a mechanic. We have Scarlett, who is the professional photographer. Jade, she's a qualified doctor. And Storm is a psychiatrist. And then Ice, the latest member, who the whole book goes about her story and what happens once she's a member of the club. She is a journalist. So they're all professional women, but at night time, when they put their leathers on, when they get their bikes out, they are the kittens, and they are a vigilante group, and they get paid to sort out everybody else's problems that they can't sort out themselves. They know how to intimidate, but they also know how to fight. So it's not just all words. They are very dangerous women. So that's what Lawless Justice is about. It's, as I said, I didn't want another MC all about the boys. I wanted the girls to have some fun. And I put myself, exactly, I put myself as Ice, as the main character. She was me, I was her. I think when you do write a character, you do have to get into their shoes. You have to experience what they experience. Your own experiences actually come out in the book, and your character experiences what you've experienced. So me and Ice, we're very, very close. I'm a good girl. I would never, ever do what Ice does, but my alter ego would. We write these books not just because they are exciting and they're dangerous and they're thrilling for us to write, and we know they're thrilling to read, but we like to be able to be someone that we're not, and be able to kick ass and get that gun and fire it, which we would never do in our lives. But when we write a story like that, we're doing it there and then. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I'm writing, my dreams are about the book. I go to sleep thinking about the book, and I dream about the book. Exactly. So while you're writing that book, you are your whole life, no matter what the reality is, you are in that book. You know, you have to write, you write. You have ideas, you get them down. Something happens in your reality, okay, you deal with it, but your mind is totally somewhere else. And I think it's at nighttime and through the dreams that we get the next scene, and we get the rest of the plot, and we might even have an ending because of it. But we put ourselves into our characters. What do you think it is, Amy, that readers love about these bad boys?
I think it is with any book. Readers fall in love with characters because they are different from what their normal life is. So you get in a book where you've got, this badass biker who, is just alpha male and ultra protective and demanding, and women want to be swept away. Gosh, I thought I spilled my drink. Women want to be swept away. And so you see this, big hunky guy, coming in, and it takes you to another world. And so anything you read, I don't know, a famous author, I can't remember who said it, but had quoted something to the effect that I can travel all around the world with a book, and I can be anybody I want to be with a book, and it's so true. And
it's escapism.
Being an author, I get to do the same thing.
Exactly.
So I not only get to do it when I read, but I get to do it when I write too.
Exactly.
And that's the thrill for me, and that's why I keep doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, like I say, you get to kick ass, you get to do things that you would never do in real life, but you get to enjoy it as well in your book.
Right. And you don't get in trouble for it either.
And you don't get in trouble for it. This is why I think with Lawless Justice, I did them as vigilantes, because they could do whatever they wanted and nobody was going to stop them. They had They had the police under the table, you know, they had them in their pocket. The police called them when someone who should have gone to prison didn't, right. Or someone's been, one of the cases was a man kept on beating up his wife and she wouldn't press charges. So the police called the kittens, well, the sergeant, and he said, deal with it. You know, this scum shouldn't be getting off for free. And so they did. They entered his house. They told the woman to get her head under the quilt. Don't say anything. We weren't here. And they dealt with him. And he never touched her again. So, but I wanted a way for them, of course, to be breaking the law and, of course, not to be getting away with it. Because in real life, you can't get away with things like that. So there's a new sheriff in town. And he's not impressed with the kittens. And he actually has it out for ICE because of something that happened right at the beginning of the club that the reader doesn't know is what the whole of the book is about until they get to the end. So, yeah, that was such a fun book to write. It actually was one of the quickest books that I did. I wrote it when I was working in a doctor's surgery in the summer time in a tourist resort, and I worked for about 4 months, and it was start, finish, written, first draft, edit, second draft by the end of those 4 months, and I've never done a book that quickly. And it's actually one of my biggest books. Road Rage, as you can see here, is a lot smaller than Lawless Justice. And I always had these ladies, they were screaming at me to write this book. They would not let me sleep. As soon as I had it in my head, right, there's going to be a female MC, that was it, you know. And you know, your characters, they take over. They tell you what they want to do. They tell you what's coming next. And you have to listen, otherwise they'll never give you any peace. Right. Going back to Sons of Anarchy, what was your favourite scene? And what scene really disturbed you the most?
The most disturbing, that's an easy one. That was Opie getting killed. That
really? Oh, it wasn't. Oh, yeah. I bawled.
The violence of watching his head get smashed in.
Yeah. No, it was. It was very, very shocking. And I bawled. And I remember, because I was on Twitter and a special show that Kurt did on YouTube, What the Fuck Sutter. I don't know if you ever saw that. It's fantastic. Yes. Really got you to know who this guy was, you know.
Yeah.
He got so much crap off everybody when he killed off Opie. And people actually turned around and said, I'm not watching your show anymore because I was only watching it for Ryan, you know. But I think for me, it was upsetting, but the thing that shocked me the most that I've never been able to get out of my head is Gemma and Tara.
That one I saw coming. It was brutal what she did.
I knew they were going to get at it. I knew there was going to be a physical fight, but I didn't think it would happen like that. Absolutely. I've even got chills now just thinking about it. Really? It's like, someone's just walked over my grave. So your favourite scene?
My favourite scene, and you're going to think I'm a little odd for this, but it's the scene when Jax goes to kill Gemma. The way he talks to her and the way she accepts what he's got to do. You know, because she killed his wife and he's got to do as, you know, what he's got to do. And the whole time that he's standing behind her and he is just crying, you see that confliction of being her son and president of the club who just lost his wife to this woman. And I just love the acting in that scene. And I love just
so
it's one of my
amazing.
favorite scenes. That
so
and him killing himself probably is my second favorite. because again, you see him just the freedom of it, letting it all go. When he did say,
he did say he was so
suicide by all means, but he did the right thing by writing everything else and taking the blame for what he did wrong.
Yeah.
And you got to admire him for that.
And Charlie actually said that scene wasn't difficult. It was difficult to do, but not for the reasons that people thought. It was because it really was an ending. It wasn't Jax killing himself. He was killing Jax off. That was the end of Jax, of Charlie being Jax. So
right.
to him, it wasn't about this character going off and committing suicide. It was he was actually killing the character off mentally and physically, and I think he had a tough time with that. And I remember at the end when that's good. Why is that not on? There we go. Battery just about run out. Right at the end when they were saying goodbye to one another, and you saw all the behind the scenes of the filming and what have you, and when Charlie cut off Opie's beard, and you could see how much invested they were in these characters. They'd lived with these guys all that time, and they had become their own brothers, their own club as such. But for anyone that hasn't, and I hope you've all watched it, you don't have to like motorbikes, and you don't have to like MC romance novels. Sons of Anarchy is a family drama.
Very much.
As Sutter put it when he first tried to describe it, he said, quote me if I got the wrong Shakespeare, Hamlet on motorbikes.
Mm-hmm.
That was what he was doing. He was using the same plot and story of Hamlet and putting it in a MC environment, outlaw MC environment.
That's exactly what he did.
Absolutely amazing. So I'm going to share screen again quickly. We're going to go over to, here we go. We're going to go over to IMBD. We're going to have a look at some of these wonderful photos. Let's see if we can shuffle through them quickly. No, it's not allowing you to do that. Oh, there we go. Here we go. We have Tig, played by Tommy Flanagan, and we have the amazing Jax. And I think this was towards the end, because do you remember when he first started, he had long hair and cute face, and he was so sexy. And then every single season, he just got more and more dirtier, more gritty, more grime, more toughness, and he lost the baby look. And again, the fans went mad when Kurt Sutter cut his hair off after one season. Do you remember that?
Yes, after they got out of jail.
Oh dear. And if I'm right, I'm sure I am, David LaBrava was actually a member of an MC, and he played, of course, Happy in the...
I think I did hear that somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, I got the ones wrong. Yeah, sorry. Kim Coates is Tig, and Tommy. What was Tommy's character? Trigger.
No,
that's Tig.
Traeger was Tig.
Traeger, yeah. Jax Teller.
Traeger was Tig.
Chibs.
Chibs, that's it.
Chibs. He stepped up towards the end. He did. He was one of those.
Sure did.
He was one of those in the back sort of characters with the plot lines and everything. You saw him in the program, but he didn't do much. And then we have the amazing Dayton Callie, who played Wayne Unser. Fantastic acting there from
yes, absolutely.
Dayton.
Did you ever catch when he's in the barber shop and he calls the barber Floyd?
Yes.
Remember the show Andy Griffith? I don't know if you got that over, where you live.
No.
There's a show that used to be on back in the 60s or 60s, 70s. It was the Andy Griffith Show, and it's actually filmed not far from where I live. But the barber there, his name was Floyd. So I think that was kind of something to be funny on Kurt Sutter's part.
I want to see if there is a picture of the amazing clubhouse table. Now this was...
with the carving.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if everyone's seen the patch, it is of the... I'll stand up. I've got the... you can't see me, so I can't stand up. Okay. It's got the Reaper on it. And the table was actually a wooden table carved with the... I don't think we're going to get to see it, are we? And that's such a shame because it's such a beautiful piece. And I think there was arguments about who wanted to take a piece of it once the show had finished. Amazing acting all around, every single character, amazing storylines. Unfortunately, they only won one award because Sutter kept on rubbing the big bosses up the wrong way, and they weren't going to even nominate the show, which should have been. He should have won every single year. It should have won. But Katie Sagal, she did win. There she is here in this photo. If anyone doesn't know, that is actually Kirk Sutter's wife. And most films and programs that he does, Katie stars in.
Yes.
But she's also a singer as well, which I think is really cool. There we have Mark Bone Jr., who plays Bobby. And he actually had a trike, even though he actually, not a biker, but he actually owned a trike before he did the show. A lot of the characters, though, they didn't. Let's just get rid of that now. Let's have another quick... which one shall I do? Another quick, let's have, I know, let's have this one. Another quick excerpt from another MC romance. This one is by Looks and Greening.